Now we have time for dessert before we get to distributing prizes to startups. On this stage, we're inviting Denys Zhadanov, Vice President at Readdle. And I will give 30 seconds for people outside to get in and just read the information. Who uses Spark? Raise your hands. Nice. Anyone using PDF at all? Nice. One of the other tools. So Readdle is one of the most successful publishers of productivity software on iOS platform. They have an email changing app and so many valuable tools. And happily, Denys is here to share his story, to share the business story, share a personal story. And so we'll give Denys 20-25 minutes to talk, and then we'll ask him questions. Thank you for coming. Would you like to stand, or would you like to sit down, lay down? Okay, thank you.
So this is a couple years ago at Gatwick Airport in London. As I landed to go to NOAA conference and speak there on stage, I was going through the customs control, and the customs officer has asked me, Denys, what is the reason you're coming? And I said, I'm coming for this conference. And he asked, what is the business? What do we do? And I started to explain that we do these different apps that are save your time, that are great productivity utility apps, such as Scanner Pro, PDF Expert, Spark, calendars. He gets his iPhone out, smiles, shows me our Scanner Pro on his phone, and says with this British accent, "Great software, sir. Welcome to Britain." I wish I knew another 125 million people in the world who got our apps and use our products. But today, we're not going to talk about how our PDF Expert became the App of the Year by Apple, how the major media in all over the world featured our products and wrote about us, including New York Times and Gizmodo and USA Today, on how I got into Forbes 30 Under 30, and what I was talking about was Tim Cook. But instead, I will tell you two interesting stories. First is how it all started, to give you some context, and second is where it's all going and how are we going to do marketing, all of us, because all of us making business, creating new tools, and how marketing is going to evolve. How can we create products that captivate, and how can we educate the world about our work? So let's go back to 2007. We all remember this guy, the first iPhone, Steve Jobs. This is San Francisco, Moscone Center. Anyone been to San Francisco? Okay, so this is like the big Moscone Center there, and this guy goes out and shows iPhone, the new miracle phone that everybody was impressed with, and we were lucky to get this phone very early on to Odessa. That's where I'm originally from. And this phone was kind of expensive. It cost more than $600 back in 2007. That was a lot of money for us. And what we realized, this phone is just the future, and it's impossible to read books. It's impossible to read documents on this phone because there was no app store. There were no apps. So these guys and myself, let's go back. So this is my brother and my friends, and we all love to read. And we thought, okay, let's do something cool for ourselves because we all want to read stuff. We love to read. And let's create service that allows us to read books. That's why the company name is Readdle, from read. And we made this service, and this service became really successful early on. And within 2 months, we got 60,000 users are using our service. But we were struggling with money. We were not making any money, and we were trying to figure out how do we make this idea into a business. Because right now we have these conferences, we have YouTube, we can go to watch Stanford classes. Back then, in 2007, when we were young kids, there was no ecosystem. There was no like startup ecosystem. We had no idea how to do it and how to run a business. And then one day, we've got this magical phone call from Cupertino. And Cupertino is in California. This is where Apple headquarters are. And the voice said, hey guys, this is, I forgot the name of that person, but that was the person from Apple. And he said, we really love what you're doing. So what we're going to do next, we're launching the App Store. So if you guys want to be on the first day of the App Store, here's the deadline, make an app. This was horrible, terrible 3 months of our lives because the guys didn't sleep at all. They were trying to make the deadline and actually submit the app before the deadline. And literally a couple of hours before the deadline, we submit our Readdle docs, our first app in 2008. And it went live along with 500 other apps on the App Store on day one. And the rest is history. Was this a success? Not really, because we were making some money. We were making about $100 per day, which was barely enough to buy a couple of iPhones, to buy some MacBooks, and pay for some servers. Our first success was this app, Scanner Pro. So Scanner Pro, we finally turned out that iPhone can be a scanner. And remember all these big scanners that we use to scan papers? So we figured out that how to use a camera to capture the picture and make it a good-looking PDF file and capture the text. So this app, 2009, it became #1 hit on the business category in more than 25 countries all over the world. And up until now, 10 years later, if you go to the App Store, at least in the US App Store, this will be in top 10 paid app overall in the world. And then we had tremendous and fascinating 10 years. We've tried a lot of things. We've tried games, failed miserably. We've tried different things, different apps, failed miserably. And overall, we've created more than 40 products. And 32 of them failed, so only 8 survived up until today. But right now, we're focusing on the products that help us to save time. There's nothing more important than time. And so you can see Spark is the email client, calendars helps us organize our lives, and then the document management solutions that are there as well. So this is the kind of very brief overview. Right now we have 160 people in Odessa, Kyiv, Berlin. We shut down our US San Francisco office for the 3rd time, but that's another story. I'm happy to tell you more later on. But I wanted to share it with you because I was being asked to share what are the principles that we use and what things worked for us in terms of marketing and how we managed to create this kind of scale of a business being in a small place and kind of become a global company. So very briefly, we'll go through all the kind of the main things, and then I'm happy to dive deeper because these are just the highlights and I don't have enough time to explain and expand on everyone, but I'm very happy to, if you come later on, I'm very happy to answer questions and tell you more. So first, was press. Press was always free, and we managed to get a lot of press early on. And Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and all the biggest press were mentioning us in their reviews, and we're getting thousands of installs and users from one article. That was big. By the way, we did not hire the agency. As a founding team, I would not recommend hiring and working with the agencies. Do it yourself. I did it myself, so you can too for sure. Happy to expand on that and how it works. Second was email. We use email marketing. So if you think email is dead, that's not true. This is the best way to communicate with the customer and tell them what's up, what's new, and stay in touch. We managed to get a huge database of emails from our users. About 16 million people gave us their emails opt-in. They said, yes, I want this. I want you guys to send me tips and tricks and some news about the products. And that's what we do. We never spam and only send very important information. Also, we always trying to communicate with the customer. So we always talking to the customer. So from the very early days when we had just like 4 people of us working, we would reply to every single email and talk to them like, what do they like? What do they need? Later on, we would go to San Francisco in different conferences or Web Summit or TechCrunch and just like exploit that platform to talk to people to understand, okay, this is our app and that's what we do. And you can see if the people really understand what you're saying or not. So then you can change your message and understand, okay, this is the wrong way of saying things, this is the better way of saying things. So speaking of communication right now, we have a team of around 18 people internally of customer success and customer support replying our customers. So per year, we're answering more than 150,000 emails from our customers. And then we're trying to figure out what do people want and what do people need and how they use our apps. Sometimes these people are so clever and they use our products in such a different way, we never thought it was possible. So that's why we can create great content, the videos, the how-to articles, the education materials that then we distribute and send to people. And speaking of content, of course, is SEO. We are very good in SEO and ASO. Basically optimizing on how people can find you and your products. I'm happy to expand on that as well. We lived by the funnel. We tried to measure everything, but not from day one. Probably for the first 5 years, we didn't measure enough, for sure, and now we do. And of course, we also try to build viral tools, especially in Spark email. But, you know, things change so fast. What was relevant 2 years ago, 5 years ago, is not relevant today. So if we go back to this list, I can tell you right now, for example, even if we get press these days, we won't have much effect on how many people will get our apps, on how many people will sign up for your product. Press doesn't work as good right now as it was before, 10 years ago, in terms of the user generation. It's great for two other things. Press is phenomenal when you're looking for investors, and when you're looking to hire new people. Just give you an example with Press. When we launched Spark Email 2015, we've got major press reviews everywhere. And 1 year later, this guy reached out, and his domain name was apple.com. Like, is Apple trying to buy us? No, there was a guy who worked at Apple Mail, and he was the head of Apple Mail. And he read about us in Press. And he said, guys, I'd love to join your company. I'm ready to quit Apple, because Apple is not about email. I want to build the best email client in the world with you. And that's how we got Terry, and he worked with us for a year. My good friend says, change or die. And I truly agree with this statement. And we have to change, we have to evolve. And that's why I collected very high-level observation of what's going on in the market and how I believe we should do things, and maybe this might be useful for you as well. So product is still the king, right? We're still trying to go out there and figure out what are we building, what is the value, who is the customer, how much are they going to pay, and how are we going to tell the story. In our age of so much data, I think we can all make personal connection with our customers. We can all create products that personalize the experience. Just a quick tip. Yesterday, I was talking to my friends from a big company. It's called Ultimate Guitar. Do you know anybody? Do you guys know Ultimate Guitar? So these guys, they customize the user experience during the first 3 screens. So for example, when you open the app, and there are screens that tell you what the app does, right? So instead of just like telling what the app does, they ask what you would like to do. What are your preferences? And then they say, oh, we're now personalizing your user experience. And the conversion goes up by 20%. Because there is this kind of knowledge and expectation, oh, this app is so smart, and it's for me, right? When we open Netflix, when you go to Spotify, we see personalized user experience. So this is for sure we want to work on even this year. I just told my teams so that we have to do this as well. We live in a super noisy world. Twitter, Facebook, Trump tweets, or like some news, and everybody is fighting for attention. Snapchat, Instagram, not much time. I believe we live in a world of attention economy. And everybody's fighting for that attention. So how do we make sure our product is discovered, right? One can do like SEO, another one can optimize their search, another one can have an amazing channel, for example, like, or use some kind of celebrity. Just know what is your channel. How do you make sure your product gets visibility and discoverability by people? We live in a world of trust. It's not about who you know anymore. It's about who you trust. And there's an amazing research that says that personal recommendation by people are much more powerful, about 8 times more powerful than recommendation or an ad that we see from a big advertising agency or a product. I think the numbers were about, we tend to believe our friends at about 84% of times, whereas if we see the ad from a big TV screen or advertising agency, we would only like 9% of people believe that. So I believe that in our case, about 20 to 30% of customers, of people who got our apps, are coming from the word of mouth, personal recommendations. So what we're going to do in the future, we have to give people tools to recommend our products. We have more than, I think, 10, 15 to 20 million active users. So that's a lot of people. Let's create tools and easy-to-use things to recommend our products to their friends. It's much cheaper and easier and scalable than to buy ads on Facebook. Of course, data, but one note about data. I was just at Apple campus, and this is the only company. Apple doesn't do A/B tests. They say, we believe we're the best users of our technology, and we make our decisions on our principles and things that we believe. But it's amazing to have the level of confidence when you're the biggest company in the world. But I think having data is always useful, and looking at every step of the funnel, the acquisition, the impression, the conversion, activation, churn. So this is very helpful. Paid channels for us never worked, but we're trying to scale them, because historically our apps were one-time purchase. So for example, you buy Scanner Pro. It costs $4 to buy. Apple takes 30% cut, so we're left with $2.7 per one purchase for a lifetime. So we have no chance to compete for the user acquisition with guys who can spend 20, 30 bucks for one user. But now we're switching to subscription model, and I think we'll have much higher chances to compete there. We're also trying to know a lot about the customer. And I think for all of us, for our companies, it's important to know who your customer is, what are their interests. So then you can create more relevant stuff for them, and you can figure out what the customer needs. So even, for example, in the future, if some of our products won't succeed, but we still own the customer, we still know their emails, and we still know who they are, we can figure out what they need and make another product later on. And this is my favorite and most important one. This is the realization of this year, probably, that we have to create a compelling story of who we are, what we do, but the most important is why we do things. Why is more important than what or how? Why resonates on our kind of neocortex level? And if people trust your why, if people like your why and your motivation, you can then figure out how to create how and what. I think I will leave with that. And this final quote that I really like from Naval Ravikant. So Naval Ravikant is a very famous guy in Silicon Valley. He's a founder of AngelList. And AngelList is in about 30% of all the deals in VC there. And now he became a philosopher, because he has now billions of dollars. You can chill, relax, and be a philosopher. So he said, you can escape competition through authenticity. There is nobody better than yourself at being you. So figure out what is your story, what drives you, what motivates you, and what you want to do in your life, and then be that and be happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was inspiring. We have really inspiring. I mean, really
I
inspiring.
was almost inspired myself.
Nice. Now we have 5 or 10 minutes for questions. Think of your questions. Irina will begin.
Okay, I want to thank you for your wonderful presentation. It's a real use case for the founders here, and we'll deliver the video as much as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Could you please tell, did you have any offers from the investors in the beginning and at the moment? You are bootstrapped?
Yeah, I mentioned that we never raised capital, right? We're like kind of this unique position where we never had to raise capital, and we actually profitable and we make money. Not as much as I would love to, and not as much as we can. Answering your question, do we have offers to invest? Not on our table right now, but we have emails coming probably every week, people asking if we're investing. And so the way we think about investment is a great thing if you know why you need the money, if you know how you will use this money to grow and scale. Otherwise, if you don't know this market fit, if you don't have market fit, it's really hard to use them, and you cannot promise everybody that this will be successful. So for example, if we believe in something and we know this will work, we will invest our own money. So this is what happens with Spark right now. We've been investing millions in Spark, and it's still not making money. But we believe so much in this product, and there is the market. And for now, there is no need to get an external investment. Yeah. By the way, I have an amazing friend who is an investor. He just closed his new fund. It's called Bond. It's a $1.2 billion fund. And he says, Denys, you know, investments is like girls. When I see a company that says me no, I want her more. So, when you're a company and you don't need money, you create scarcity. You create the story. And then they come to you.
So, of course, exciting story. Thank you very much. But there is a lot of moments. There are a lot of moments when founders just feeling sad. So probably for me, I wonder if you talk about your fuck-ups when you're like feeling, oh, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. And I think for a lot of guys here, it would be much more interesting to hear about it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, 32 times at least, and every day. Every day you go and sleep and you think you fucked up because you have this much of a list of to do, and you've done this much, and this keeps piling up, right? So, do you want me? Because we have a lot of things that didn't work.
You decide to overcome this. So where you getting your stress? In alcohol, women, or gambling, or I don't know.
Yeah, the question is how you relax.
No, how to cope with stress. So you focus on victories, I guess. I focus on victories, and I focus on a bigger vision. So this why for me, personal why, I really want to build something that helps people to save time, right? And if I can save time with this product or that product, that's my big vision and my big picture. And if I can save time an hour per day for 1 million people or 20 million people, I'll be happy. Every day is hard, and especially if things don't work. And then as you grow, you have more and more responsibility. And now you have a lot of people in your team, and now you're not just responsible for yourself, but also for everybody else. And they trust you, and they believe you, and you're there. You cannot just go away, because you have people with you who are also in this boat. So for me, what really works is escaping the noise. So what helped me the most last year, or the year before, was travel. We went to Mexico, Tulum. And this is a beautiful place of land with ocean and beautiful jungle. And there's a lot of different like yoga and meditation retreats. And you kind of sit down there and you actually think what makes you happy and how how you can be happy. You can also make what I did. I made a column of things that drain energy and things that give energy. So I'm trying to focus on things that give me energy. But Elon Musk said being an entrepreneur is like chewing glass and looking into the infinity. Yeah.
One more question? Or two, maybe.
Sorry, I'm not standing up, but not to make
It's okay.
the guys behind
It's okay.
me upset. We all see all about your energy and Instagram, I suppose. It's very motivating. I have a question. How do you think? What is the main thing for success back in 2007 and today? And I will give you 3 points to choose. First, technology/product, and here I mean idea, production, and financial model, and maybe customer service. The second is marketing, and maybe customer service will be here. And the third one is the right call. That may be good luck or networking. So what is the most important? What is the most important also in planning the project for startups?
Okay, so going back to 2007, I would say a bunch of things, but we usually underestimate luck and timing. So timing is crucial. We failed so many times here because of timing wasn't right. We have the gift-making app back in 2012 when gifts were not like a mainstream, but the timing was perfect for 2007, 2008, because the wave of mobile games and mobile apps and mobile overall, and iPhone was there, so timing was perfect. And then there was just focus on making cool things. There's, okay, let's make this, and then we have no idea. We had no idea how this will be big or small. Let's just try it and see how it goes. Right now, we cannot afford to do like, let's just try it. So that was the logic back then. The logic 2014 was, okay, we have all these apps, all these products, except Spark, and we can be just profitable lifestyle company, but there is this something inside that says, you can build something more, you can build something bigger, and then we all look at these billionaires and Silicon Valley who are building SpaceX and Tesla and Apple, and that's why we thought, okay, let's try to solve one of the biggest problems in tech. And email, like email sucks. Everybody hates email. So we said, okay, let's try to fix email. Is it big ambition? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. Are we there yet? No. It's been 4 years. Speaking of failures, like Spark is definitely not a failure. Spark is one of the best email clients in the world, but it's not yet like a billion-dollar company. Like we have a lot of users there, and people love it, but it's still not making money. And we're like, we're spending money, but then that's just one step ahead of becoming a profitable company. So we believe in that, yes.
All right.
Maybe we'll do it.
You have 10 seconds.
Yeah, hello, Denys again. You said about the switching to subscription model. I have a question about have you already started in what products? And I guess it's a very tough time for the company to switch from the one-time paid situation to subscription. And what problems maybe you guess you will face in future? So tell about this.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So just for information, so you see these 6 products here.
Можно презентацию вернуть, пожалуйста?
Yeah. Anyways, these are 6 products. So we have like 3 different directions in our company. We call these 4 consumer apps. Spark is different. Fluix is a B2B product. It's also a different story. I know you guys mostly in B2B, right? Like everybody's mostly doing B2B companies and startups. So Fluix is B2B. This is SaaS subscription business. Spark is subscription as well for teams. So you can use it free as a person, but then if you have a team, At the very end, we'll charge you for team usage. And then we made a decision to switch to subscription for our consumer apps, where the most of our customers are. And that was a tough decision, and I think we're a bit late, honestly. I think we're two years late. We should have done this before, but we couldn't just switch overnight and say, okay, it was one-time payment, now it's subscription, and somehow you have to pay more. It's not ethical, and we're very ethical as a company. For example, we made a conscious choice with documents. My friend tells me, Denys, if you add just a banner there in documents, you will make $3 million a year extra. And we're consciously making a choice of not doing that because we don't do ad-supported products. We don't believe in that. We'll figure out the way to make documents, not to make 3 million ads. We'll try to make it a $100 million product somehow else. So we just switched PDF Expert to subscription. And it took us over a year to figure out what people want more and what people need. And that was a lot of customer research and interviews and making just an app into a bigger service and going cross-platform and adding value. That's there in the roadmap. We switched to subscription. Some people were really upset. Some people told me like, oh my God, die in hell, Readdle, what are you doing? Why? I loved you, now I'm gone. But we knew that that would happen. So what we did, we kind of changed the whole spectrum of the product. So we made PDF Experts free for all, so you can use it for free for most of the cases. And for vertical cases, for professionals like legal, lawyers, students, teachers, we would create specific tools that are kind of professional. And it's okay to pay $4 a month or like $4.99 a month for something that you use every day, and then that's actually your work. So this was the first app, and I think the rest will follow. And it just takes time to make it the right way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. A big round of applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for this inspiration.